Now at 5, how a new program in Joplin is connecting senior citizens with volunteer opportunities. Plus, how Missouri Southern is trying to improve student engagement with today's spring career fair. And a federal judge in Texas could decide the future of access to abortion pills.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A local organization is helping retired Joplin residents stay busy through volunteer opportunities. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The Area Agency on Aging and United Way of Southwest Missouri and Southeast Kansas partnered to create the Give 5 program. It's a 5-day course for seniors or retirees 55 years and older to go through 5 days of civic matchmaking. They meet with 23 area nonprofits offering volunteer opportunities to see what might be a good fit for them.
So the number one health risk to senior citizens is isolation. And so through this program, we hope to take those retirees, those senior citizens, take them through this class and get them out of the house. So this program is really aimed at that social determinant of health, making sure that seniors stay active and engaged in their community.
We're going to hear from some of the volunteers tonight at 6. Missouri Southern is giving students a chance to look toward the future. The university today hosted its spring career fair. Area employers were asked to bring trade show style displays to give students a good understanding of what their business does and what they stand for. Officials say the interactive booths improve engagement from students.
Just getting the word out that we have positions. I think a lot of students don't necessarily think about banking as something that they can do while they're in school. And it gives you great experience whether you want to stay in banking or if you want to go do something else. It gives you a good, solid foundation for even your own life.
MSSU last week hosted a Dress to Impress event where students could get professional donated clothing ahead of the career fair. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty for our first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be a much warmer day for us today as we shot into lower 60s for highs. Even though we've had a lot of clouds throughout the day, it's been a little bit on the windy side, which the winds are going to pick up even more. But a lot of clouds, and this is all ahead of our next storm system, which is building out across the southern parts of the Rockies. Look at our temps. We're at 63 in Nevada, 59 in Anderson. Oswego is checking in at 61 degrees, but the winds starting to increase. Southerly winds at about 15 to 25 gusts have been a little bit higher than that. And that's why we have a wind advisory which goes in effect tonight, lasting all the way until Friday morning. Also, rain chances really shoot up tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. Of course, we're going to break down this storm system for you here in just a bit.
See you soon. The U.S. says it'll continue to fly missions near Ukraine even after a Russian jet caused a U.S. drone to crash. The U.S. often flies drones over the Black Sea as it monitors the fighting in Ukraine. Russia's ambassador was summoned to the State Department to answer for the actions, but he says Russia did not cause the crash. He said the drone was flying dangerously close to Russian-controlled territory. The future of abortion pills in the U.S. is in question with a lawsuit underway in Texas. A U.S. district judge is holding a hearing about whether to ban sales of mifepristone, even in states where the drug remains legal. In November, anti-abortion groups sued the FDA, which approved the drug more than 2 decades ago. When used with a second drug, it's considered the most common method of abortion in the U.S. Michael George reports.
Protesters gathered at this Texas courthouse where a conservative federal judge is considering a case that could halt nationwide use of the abortion pill mifepristone.
After the overturn of Roe, millions of women have lost access to abortion care, especially here in Texas. So the access to medication abortion is one of the last options that we have.
The lawsuit filed by anti-abortion groups is asking for an immediate order that would revoke or suspend the drug's FDA approval. More than 20 years ago, the FDA gave mifepristone the green light in combination with a second pill as a safe and effective method to induce a medicated abortion.
What people are asking for is not just say that the FDA was incorrect in approving mifepristone, not just for this district in Texas, but nationwide.
Government lawyers contend taking the drug off the market would unravel reproductive care for women in the U.S. and undermine federal oversight of prescription drugs.
This case could have profound implications for access to abortion throughout the entire United States. Targeting medication abortion is a way of really cracking down and enforcing these draconian abortion restrictions that have popped up and are being enforced in so many states in the wake of the Supreme Court overruling Roe.
Danco Laboratories, which makes the drug, is joining the FDA in arguing to keep the pill available. Justice Department attorneys would likely appeal any decision against mifepristone and seek an emergency stay to prevent the ruling from taking effect. Michael George, CBS News.
The judge took the unusual step of asking lawyers for the, quote, courtesy of not publicizing upcoming arguments, according to a court record. Still ahead, why a letter might not make its destination.
Mail theft is on the rise. I'm Wendy Gillette with what you should know before you drop a check in the mailbox.
And next in Health Watch, as the baby boomer generation ages, cases of Alzheimer's are on the rise. We're going to look at the toll that disease is taking. Topping today's Health Watch, exposure to the chemical trichloroethylene is associated with a 500% increased risk of Parkinson's disease. That's according to a team of international researchers publishing in the Journal of Parkinson's Disease. The chemical is widely used to decaffeinate coffee, degrease metal, and dry clean clothes. Researchers say the runoff from those procedures contaminates up to 1/3 of groundwater in the U.S. A new report from the Alzheimer's Association shows the number of people being diagnosed continues to increase as the baby boomer population ages. Reporter Naomi Ruckham has more on the toll the disease can take on patients and their caregivers.
Are you okay?
Okay. William Rodriguez has been caring for his wife Maria since her Alzheimer's disease diagnosis several years ago. He says he realized something was off when his wife began misplacing things.
Silverware and plates and whatever came into her mind, and she would stick it underneath that bookcase.
It's estimated 6.7 million Americans over the age of 65 are now living with Alzheimer's, a number projected to grow to nearly 13 million by 2050. A new Alzheimer's Association report also finds patients and doctors are not talking about memory concerns.
It's important for primary care physicians to make this discussion a routine part of clinical care to get patients the diagnosis and the care that they need.
Neurologist Dr. Nicole Purcell says without these essential conversations, patients lose out on early interventions and possible clinical trials for treatment. The new report also estimates more than 11 million caregivers are providing unpaid care in the U.S.
Caregiving is a difficult job. Approximately 59% of caregivers report experiencing emotional stress as a result of caregiving.
How important is it to both of you that you stay mentally okay and happy?
That's extremely important, because if I can't function for her, then it's all going to go down the drain.
Rodriguez says as his wife's memories are fading,
I like to remember her the way she was, not the way she is.
He focuses on remembering all the joyful moments he's had with the love of his life for more than 50 years. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Although there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, there are medications and trials aimed at slowing its progression. There are currently more than 140 therapies being tested. Having a high level of caffeine in the blood might help keep body fat levels in check and lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. That's according to a new study in the British Medical Journal. Researchers say more study is needed about the role of calorie-free caffeinated drinks like, say, coffee. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our Pet Vet On Call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to try to decide why your dog is cocking his head.
Plus, we have thunderstorms moving in on Thursday. We're going to break that down for you coming up next. Well, it turned out to be a warmer day for us today as we shot into the 60s for highs, but I'm sure you noticed the winds have really picked up throughout the daytime hours. A lot of clouds, nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo just outside. of Seneca, Missouri. All right, look at our temps. We're into the 60s, which is good. This is actually a couple notches above where we should be. Everybody into lower 60s. We're just not going to drop off much for us tonight. Currently sitting at 61. Look at those winds. Southerly winds sustained at 24, gusts higher than that. 38% relative humidity. Well, look at these southerly winds helping us warm up, kind of ushering in that next storm system. So sustained 15 to 25, but we've been getting gusts over the past, 6 hours or so, kind of 30, 35 mile per hour range. In fact, we have a wind advisory which goes into effect here in a few hours and lasts until Friday morning. Look at this. Later on tonight, we're going to have winds gusting 40 to 45. If your trash can's outside, bring it in. And then winds gusting 40, 45 throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. And then behind the front, still getting gusty winds with gusts 30 to 40. The winds start to calm a little bit once we get into Friday, but still it's going to be breezy really all the way into the weekend. All right, we have clouds, nothing underneath the clouds, couple little showers down through central parts of Arkansas. Here's our next storm system, which is rolling in over the next 24 hours. So let's go through time. We're going to stop tomorrow morning. A few isolated little showers. Look at our temps, lower 50s. As we go through the morning, hit and miss, scattered showers, nothing heavy. But once we get into the afternoon, here's 2 p.m. Look at the line of storms. This is right along the cold front entering our western counties. So as we march through the afternoon, this line will drive east. So here's 4 p.m. Thunderstorms Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Columbus, all the way down toward really Pryor, Veneta. As we continue through the evening, this line continues to drive east. Now in southwestern Missouri, here's 5:30 p.m. all the way down into northwestern Arkansas. Now, some of these storms may be strong. I don't think we're going to get much in the way of severe weather, but we can't rule out 1 or 2 severe storms. But these are going to pack a little bit of a punch. Then look at the colder air rushes in tomorrow evening, and we even get some light snow showers. We could even get minor accumulations, maybe a dusting across the region. Then it turns much colder as we go into Friday morning, all the way down into the 20s, and we only rebound right around 40 degrees. All right, big severe threat stays to our south tomorrow, but we do have a low severe threat, mainly in our southern counties, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. I'm going to keep all the threats on the low side. Here's your day planner temps, kind of hang out near 60, and then we drop as we go into the afternoon hours. Also, rainfall amounts, I think will be decent. Most of us, 1/4 of an inch, upwards to 1/2 an inch. Some areas a little bit higher than that in spots as we get into tomorrow evening. All right, 61 tomorrow. Thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, down to 26 tomorrow night. St. Patrick's Day only 46. It stays cool through the weekend. Look at this, 18 Sunday morning. So these are hard freezes. And then thunderstorms back in the forecast again late next week with a severe threat.
Yeah, I thought low 20s was bad. 18.
18's bad.
Wow. Thanks, John. Coming up, federal regulators approved the merger of 2 of the nation's biggest railroads, including one based in Kansas City. Topping today's Consumer Watch, a federal regulator today approved Canadian Pacific Railroad's acquisition of Kansas City Southern. The Surface Transportation Board approved the $31 billion deal, saying it'll shift about 64,000 truckloads of freight per year from the road to the rails, potentially enhancing safety and reducing carbon emissions. The deal is the first merger between major railroads since the 1990s. Some Medicare beneficiaries could start paying less for certain prescriptions. The Department of Health and Human Services says starting next month, the out-of-pocket cost is dropping for 27 drugs. Seniors could save between $200 and $390 per average dose for these medications. This initiative is part of the Inflation Reduction Act. It requires drug companies to pay a rebate to Medicare if they raise their prices faster than inflation. May seem like an odd crime in the digital age, but police say thieves are stealing people's mail. Wendy Gillette tells us why.
Stressful.
Dottie and Charlie Layton recently wrote a $37 check to pay their power bill and dropped it in the same Boston area blue mailbox they've used for years. But days later, the bank called and said someone was trying to cash that same check, now with an amount of nearly $10,000.
They could empty a whole bank account out. We have quite a bit in the checking account.
The Laytons were caught in a wave of mail thefts, with thieves stealing checks from mailboxes outside of homes, apartment buildings, and those blue boxes. Authorities say sometimes criminals have homemade devices to reach into the slot and fish mail out. In other cases, they use a stolen master key known as an arrow key to unlock it. Last year, police near Chicago released video of a man opening a blue box and taking all of the mail.
Once they have the arrow keys, they have access to hundreds of mailboxes.
David Maimon is a professor of criminology at Georgia State University and has been tracking criminal groups that wade through stolen mail to find checks.
They look for IRS checks, they look for personal checks, they look for business checks.
Fraudsters can use chemicals to remove the original writing, then write in a new name and amount on the check. More sophisticated criminals go a step further.
Once you have the check, you essentially have the entire information you need in order to manufacture more and more checks.
Authorities in several parts of the country are asking people to drop mail inside the post office instead of in a blue box. The Layton's new strategy is to circumvent the mail.
We're going to pay as much as we can online.
The couple plans to stop using paper checks to avoid becoming victims again. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
Authorities say people should not leave checks in their home mailboxes. The Better Business Bureau advises people who write checks to buy a pen with enduring black ink, which is very difficult to wash off. Our pet vet on call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, why many sleep apnea patients are struggling to replace CPAP machines that were recalled 2 years ago. Then on KOAM News at 6, authorities in Texas arrest 2 suspects in a Newton County shooting case. Plus, Southwest Missouri mourns the loss of an influential member of the community, Gary Stubblefield. And we're going to hear from some of the senior citizen volunteers taking part in the Give 5 program in Joplin. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. If you're a dog owner, you've probably seen this behavior from time to time. Today's question for our pet vet on call: why do dogs sometimes cock their heads?
Well, 2 things come to mind. Number one, obviously they're listening and they're hearing something. They might be hearing something odd or a frequency that's too high for us to hear. They might be exhibiting curiosity, or they might be displaying confusion. How many times have we listened to somebody who's not the brightest color in the crayon box and you literally go, huh? Same thing. They're listening and hearing something. The other thing could be a pathological problem, an ear issue, pain in the ears, ear infection, allergies. They could have dental pain. They can have vestibular disease. They can have a neurological problem. So you probably should have that checked out, because the first one is kind of cute. The second one may need attention.
We invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday on KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. All right, let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this Shepherd Mix puppy. He's a male named Carlos. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we have this Husky Lab Mix, a 3-year-old male named Diesel. The society says he does great with other dogs, plays with kids, and Diesel is looking for a home with no cats. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? They always have lots of great pets to choose
Diesel's
among.
great with family members, kids, just doesn't like
Just
the cats.
not the cats. That's good to know before you bring him into the house.
Absolutely.
The weather.
All right, it's going to be windy tonight. We're going to stay into the lower 50s. Showers developing in the morning, and then thunderstorms during the afternoon. Some of those could be on the strong side. High temp 61, then turning sharply colder by tomorrow night.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.